Hey friends, it's Dino. We're here with another new player's guide, and I wanted to talk about the in-game HUD and all of the information that it provides you. So I'm going to start at the bottom right and just move counterclockwise around the screen. So we're going to start with perks. So when you do your loadout before you go into the match, you can have 1 to 4 perks, and they will appear here at the bottom right of the screen. Now, if you look at my very top icon, right now it's duller than the rest. That is because there are some perks in the game that are only active under certain conditions. So for that one, it will only light up when the killer is looking in my direction at close range. So it will light up here in a little bit, you'll see it, but for now it is dull, and that's how I know it is not active. Now, other players, killer or survivor, can also bring perks that will affect others in the game. So where I have those 4 skulls in the red icon, that means that there is a perk that is impacting me negatively. But now when I come over here and I start working on this generator, I have a blue icon, and that means a perk is affecting me positively. So the killer brought in the red perk, I can tell you that now. But someone else brought in that blue perk there, and I'm getting some benefits from it. So blue is good, red is bad. And there's that top perk that's lit up, and there's the killer. So I saw him coming, but I thought I could stick to it a little bit longer. So if we move right above the perks, you'll see that little heart there. So this is a status effect. So status effects always appear in the mid right side of the screen, and there are so many different status effects that you can get in this game. This heart, you can see a little timer around it kind of ticking away. Um, some will fade over time, others are permanent, and you have to do certain actions to get rid of them. Um, but they will always appear there. And I will do a video in the future explaining status effects, and so you can start to recognize what each symbol actually means. Um, yeah, until then, just if there is one that you want to know, there is always the Dead by Daylight wiki that can explain all of them. This heart, for example, just means I'm exhausted, so I can't use my perk on the far right. If you notice, it's grayed out, but when the heart goes away, it'll light back up. Now, right above that, it just popped up and said recovery, and now it said wiggle. And this is your point scoring events. Um, if you watch that for the rest of this video, just kind of glance over there, you'll see anytime I do different actions, whether it's repairing a generator, unhooking someone, healing someone, getting into a chase, um, anything like that. Anything you do in the game, you earn points for so much stuff. It's always going to pop up there, and just let you know how many points you earned for doing that thing. And then there's a circle also that it starts white and it fills up red. And so once the circle near the points event is full red, that means you've earned maximum points in whatever category that was, whether it's survival, objectives, altruism, anything like that. Now, another thing, I don't know if you may have seen it, and you could probably go back and rewind. When Chris unhooked me, it popped up and it said borrowed time. So if there's ever an add-on or a perk that affects you as a killer or survivor, so as a killer, a survivor, if you pick them up after unhooking and they hit you with decisive strike, it'll pop up and say decisive strike there. Or in this case, the killer, if they had an add-on like Redhead's Pinky, if he hit me with his bottle, it'll pop up and tell me that I got hit with Redhead's Pinky. And for when Chris unhooked me, he had a perk called Borrowed Time. And so I saw that when he unhooked me, it popped up and said Borrowed Time. So the scoring events will also show different perks the same way that other players brought into the game, the same way that you see them down at the bottom right with your perks. All right, going to the other side. Over here we have all of the survivor statuses. Now, you will see yourself and every other player in the game, and you can tell the status of other players by this. So I can see that the Claire right now is in the dying state, which I knew because also she was in a chase right next to me, and I can see her over there in the car picking her up. I can see that the Jill is injured, and I can see that Chris is the obsession, which the obsession, it only matters if there's a certain obsession perk really that the killer brought or the player bought. Obsession is very perk dependent as far as like how useful it is. For the most part, it just means bonus blood points at the end of the match for whoever the obsession was. Um, yeah, you can see everybody's status. So sometimes there are timers. So if you saw Jill right before she was unhooked, there was a timer that was ticking away, and that shows you how long she has before she dies. And you also can see little ticks. As a survivor, you can see the ticks. So next to everybody's icon, right above their names, everybody has one tick at least. And that means everybody's been hooked one time. And for Claire, specifically, she's been hooked 2 times, so she has 2 ticks. If someone has 2 ticks, that means the next time they're hooked, they will die. Or if the killer brought a Mori, they can Mori them. On the killer side, they cannot see those ticks, but you do have a circle that will, it has 12 little notches, and every time someone hits a hook state, you gain another like red, one of the white notches turns red. So if you put someone on hook for the first time, it'll just give you 1 notch. And if the team leaves them on there for too long and they get to the second stage, you'll immediately get another notch for it. And so once all 12 fill up, that means you've killed everybody and you've got a 4K. So that's pretty neat. Cool thing about the obsession, I don't know if you just saw Chris's little tentacles around his face were moving. If the obsession is in chase, you can actually see the tentacles moving like that. So it does give you some information when you're solo queue as far as if the obsession is being chased or not. Then you have your generators. So that number next to the generators lets you know how many generators need to be repaired still before the exit gates can be powered. Once the exit gates are powered, or if everybody just dies and you're the last survivor, there will be an icon right next to that of hatch. As long as there is the icon of hatch, it means that hatch is an available escape option. If it is not there, then hatch is not an available escape option. So if you're the last survivor and you see that the hatch icon is there, you know that it's a way that you can get out. But if the killer closes it, it's going to go away, and then you know that you can't get out of hatch unless you have a key. And then right below this, now I have this section empty, unfortunately, so not the best example, but as a survivor, if you bring any items into the match, they will appear down at the very bottom left, and any add-ons will appear next to them. As a killer, this is where the icon of your power shows up, and again, any add-ons that you bring will also appear right next to it. So yeah, it's a lot of information in the game. It has changed a lot over time. Hopefully they don't change it too much anytime soon, but yeah, this is all of the information on the HUD. So again, starting at the bottom right counterclockwise, you have your perks plus any other perks that other players in the game may have brought. You have your status HUD or your status effects. You have your point scoring events. And you can see I have max repairs. That's what I was talking about earlier with the red circle. You have the statuses of other players, and you have your generator count and potentially your item and or power, whatever you brought in. So I hope that helps everybody. If you have any questions at all, of course, please leave them in the comments. I would love to make any more videos that people find helpful as they're starting their journey playing this game as a new player. So really appreciate you stopping by, and I hope to see you later in the fog. Bye!